Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back to the show. Neil Pickup here with you in the mother fluffing house. Been on here for like 40 minutes, done one episode, haven't eaten a goddamn thing. It's all about the diet, guys. It's all about the diet. Ladies and gentlemen, joining me for the show. He's gone nowhere. He's dried his eyes. Got all emotional on me. You know, Gary. Gary Roberts in the house. How you doing, mate? Direct from Arm TV. You look on the wall there. Show them the sign, Gary. And look at that.
That's our budget.
Mate, how are you feeling now? That was a pretty emotional first episode, wasn't it?
Yeah, you know, I haven't talked about. You asked me like when you know, and I really hadn't talked about that defining moment in kind of a lot until then, and I didn't realize that was going to hit me like a Mack truck. Oh my God! It's because you know, in this world, people do great things all the time, and sometimes you have support, sometimes you don't have support, and it's like sometimes if you want to try something that's never been done before, it's not going to be easy, right? You've got to struggle, and people are going to tell you it's not possible, and it's like no. It is possible. I'm going to continue doing it. And that's kind of like my mind frame. I was like, I had a lot of people tell me that I was not making good choices. And it's like, I'm going to prove you wrong. I was not going to let anyone tell me that it wasn't possible what I wanted to do.
But arm wrestling's never been a sport with big money involved in it. I mean, most of the people involved in the sport sort of know that as things stand right now, it's been an extremely difficult sport to make money from. In any capacity, Gary. So you were coming in at a time when nobody was doing that, in a sport where nobody was making any money, really, and trying to do that. It's interesting you say that people were giving you stick and abuse for coming in and wanting to make money or trying to make money. I have a completely different mindset on that. I never minded that at all. If you were coming in, as you say, and you were giving a service that people wanted to utilize, to see matches, and you were bringing that to them, good for you. More power to you, as far as I'm concerned. If you make money, good on you, mate. That's just me, Opinions vary. My own opinion on that is I have no issue with you making money at all in that respect. You were putting in a great service that people got hours of pleasure from watching. Why not? I
did make some money. I paid my bills. Every year I was able to take a decent vacation to the World Championships, which I focused on arm wrestling. And, if I was like driving around like a Mercedes Benz or something, I mean, I'd give people, but I'm like, listen, man. I said, if I'm successful, the first thing I'm going to want to do is help you become successful. That's like the goal. I want, at the end of the day, if I achieve some sort of success, I'm like, I don't want to be by myself. I want my arm wrestling team with me where we're all like, holy shit, like, like the Green Bay Packers were like, the fans are part owners, like that was like my vision. And I know how hard I work, so I never had any problem. I like to tell people like, listen, man, you go to work, you get paid. I'm like, I have no problem. I could never figure it out why some people, I have a lot of fans, but I also have a lot of people that are like, yeah, you're just trying to make money. Even now, I did a podcast with Devin Laird, and then one of his fans were like, Gary's just back because arm wrestling exploded. And I'm like, holy shit, it couldn't be further from the truth. I was so far disconnected from the sport of arm wrestling. Dude, I thought Wall was canceled. Last thing I heard about Wall was that they canceled the finals, and the comments I saw on Facebook where people weren't happy. Oh, what do you mean? It's so random. I did not come back.
Hey, let's take a reality check here, though, okay? to the person that would make that comment, I'm going to say this. If you've spent so many years of your life so heavily invested into something, then why the hell not? It's like saying if you bought a house and you sweat and toiled and put every waking moment into getting enough money to buy that house, if the house then appreciates 10 years later, what, you're not allowed to sell it? What the fuck? Of course, that's the most nuts thing ever. Let's say you had come back into it because arm wrestling had suddenly exploded, when it was your primary source of income, absolutely, why not? And you'd be 100% entitled to. I saw what you put into the sport, mate. I saw the amount of hours you put into the sport. I've been with you in the early hours of the morning when we'd been on it from the, literally, waking moments. We'd been on there like 7 a.m. when you've been over here at Worlds. You were editing in the morning, editing at night. We'd gone on it all day. You'd have the camera on your shoulder all goddamn day. We had some long runs. You know? So.
Yeah. You want to know why I did come back?
Yeah, of course I do.
I haven't told anyone this yet.
Well, you're about to.
Yeah. So this is the truth, man, and I don't know if it's good or not. But you know, Sevon gave me a job at CrossFit.
Yeah.
Right? And I learned a lot from him. Having to work for someone official. With Arm TV, no one checked my work. You know, I made clips and I put them up. And now today, going through them, I'm like, oh, you put up some stuff that today I wouldn't release. It needs to has a little finer edit to it. And I was like, so I learned all these things about filmmaking via Sevon and CrossFit because it's a more official system and people are reviewing you and checking your work.
Yep.
And I got let go. I no longer work for CrossFit, and I got remarried, and I have a baby, and I'm just chilling at home, being a stay-at-home dad. And I was thinking to myself, my last experience. I'm going to get off topic, but my last experience with Wall. Do you want to know what it was? WAL.
Go for it.
I showed up at a tournament in New Orleans.
Well, give me a date line. Give me a date check here, mate.
It was right when they were big. I think that 2015 when they put in the most money.
Uh-huh.
I think it was right around then. I showed up at the tournament and I was just a spectator. And I was like, I had a couple people come up to me, obviously friends who I've known. They're like, it's great to see you. And I had that few moments, but there was even more of people who didn't know who I was. And I was just like standing around like a normal person. And I was like, oh my gosh, I felt so useless. I was like, I love arm wrestling, but when I go to an arm wrestling tournament, I want to do my job. And it's like, I just felt kind of useless. And the funny thing is they needed someone to warm up the crowd. And they're like, hey, Gary Roberts, he could do that. And I can't remember if Steve Kaplan was there or not, but one of the people higher up, they came over and they gave me a mic. And they're like, hey, can you get the crowd warmed up? And I was like, sure. And I was so excited, I started, hey, let's motherfuckers, get the motherfucker, cry, get on your feet, motherfuckers.
So you have an extensive repertoire lined up then?
Yeah, and they came over to me and they yanked the mic away. And they're like,
oh, that'll happen.
They're like, you can't do that. You can't drop a bunch of F-bombs. We're going to be on television. And so I think I worked for Wall for 35 seconds. And I got fired for throwing F-bombs on the, anyways, they yanked the mic away, and then I just continued to watch the show. But I was filled with such sadness that
watching the young child carried out of the building crying. You mean, like?
No, that I was watching. What I was watching was
what
mine.
What is that name, Mummy? I don't know, dear. Take off the man.
I was watching someone else do my dream.
Who the hell did that?
I don't remember. But they're like, dude, they took the mic. They're like,
that's the best thing you've told me all day. You were crying last show. I'm on the edge here, son. That was awesome.
No, they yanked. They're like, you're out of here, bro. You can't be throwing F-bombs. So I tried to watch the show, and I was like, I was filled with such inner sadness that I left. And I never looked back, man. I walked away.
That was the turn up. That was you literally walked out of arm wrestling at that point.
I didn't even finish the show. I walked out because that was my fucking dream that I was watching. That's what I was gonna do. But I failed. I walked away, and I never came back, and I never looked back. And I was gonna make a documentary,
right,
on my failed dream. I was gonna call it like the largest failure in history, and I was gonna make a
quite heavy. That's good. Don't steady on. Don't go too hard.
No, that's what I was gonna do. I was gonna
failure in history. I mean, come on, dude. You're aware of the space shuttle launches. I don't know whether it's up there the largest failure in history.
No, YouTube failure, like.
Okay, fair enough. I'm getting on that. Yeah, fair enough. You have me with a minute. I want to throw a whale get lost up on a beach. That was really bad. Just like,
YouTube, like YouTubers.
Okay.
Like a failed YouTuber, somebody who has dreams big. That's like people have to think of YouTubers to like think of what I was doing, even though I started ARM TV before YouTube existed. But I was going to make a documentary. It was going to be finally produced. I was going to, imagine a finally produced documentary. I was going to tell my story, but it was going to end sad. Like, I thought of suicide at moments. I wanted to kill myself because the ruler of the nation, Don Fritchie, gave me the 20 grand every year, and I was like, you got to be a member. And people were like so appalled. Some people really were upset about that. And I was like, I don't understand. Why would you be upset? Like I'm trying to build something here, and if you just fucking support it, I will show you the amazing shit we can do. Anyways, after 3 years, the recession hit. Don Fritchie was hit by that, and the economy is like, I can't do another year, which I totally understood. But ARM TV membership didn't grow. Social media was happening. Facebook was happening. YouTube was happening, and membership went down. The harder I worked, membership went down, and I was like, holy shit, this is not working. I'm like gonna have to. I sent Sevon an email. And he always kept in contact with me over the years. Even though he finished pulling John, I think we were at the Michael Classic one year, and we went and had dinner afterwards, and he's like, if I ever have any work, would you be interested? I get a lot of gigs. He's like, you're a hard worker, I respect. And I was like, oh, at that time I really thought that we were gonna make it, but I'm sorry, arm wrestlers out there. You're a tough bunch, manly men. I'm sorry for being a crying little bitch on here multiple times. But
mate, there's nothing to be embarrassed or shit. Let me just recenter you, Gary. Just recenter your phone a little bit, mate. You've drifted off the side that way. Just recenter your phone up a touch. There we go. That's it. You've retained your aura of sexiness. And now you're centered. Mate, listen, joking aside, nothing to be ashamed about, nothing to be embarrassed about in that respect. It doesn't take a man not to admit they've got some frailties in that respect. What I would say is this: I had no idea, no clue, no inkling that things ever got that dark for you, mate. When you're saying like you have suicidal thoughts and things like that, that's wow. I mean, I did not think for 1 minute anything had ever got like that for you, Gary. That's
well,
I think
going back to like, I had to make hard choices. I quit school, and I had to tell, family, you gotta trust me. And then years later, like, oh, you're now having to get a job. You don't have an education. And people were like, I told you. Like, never mind that for like a good 7 years, I had the world's best job, bar, end of story. There's no one on the planet, I don't care what they do, had the feeling that I had of the joy that I could pay my bills, that I could go have reunions with friends and see amazing arm wrestling matches and be part of something greater that you were trying to accomplish. Yes, we weren't accomplishing world peace, but I could argue that arm wrestling could solve world peace given that world championship after party video. But anyways, I want to get back on the point that I did some little research, and it was like, oh my God, there's like so many new people in the sport that don't know what RMTV is. And I was like, I'm going to start posting videos because I want people to remember what I did.
But the funny thing is, Gary, in all of that, mate, you've got the other thing to mention here that you can't overlook is you're saying there that now you don't have a job, and people were throwing those kind of accusations at you and saying that you tossed away your time needlessly. But there's a flip side to that, in that you'd actually accumulated a significant amount of skill because you'd learnt how to edit the videos, how to capture the video. These are things that are, they're skilled jobs. They're not something anybody can just pick up and do. God knows I know that because I can't edit a YouTube channel, save my bloody life while I've been doing this in the 12 weeks I've been trying. And some of the quality stuff that you put out there was really good. And as you say, people like Savan Matosian, of Pulling John and CrossFit fame, massive amount of respect from me goes to that guy because he's an artist. That man is an artist. He puts together some wonderful stuff. You did some fabulous stuff yourself, mate. So you've accumulated a significant amount of skill. And, as I said earlier, you've got that archive, that sort of real estate, haven't you, of archive footage. So how anybody could say that it's not completely justified for you to come back into the sport and create a YouTube channel and let people see that, as an arm wrestling fan, I'd say it's a travesty if you didn't. If you've got a growing membership base and you've got people that are hungry to learn more about the sport of arm wrestling and to see these people, they've got a thirst to see people that their idols and their heroes compete. You've got so much footage of those guys that otherwise would go, it'd remain in the dark. That would be a tremendous shame. I'm not sure whether it'd be as much of a shame as some of the stuff you've been talking about, but it'd be pretty bad.
So this whole time, RMTV, I've kept it active. The archive has been there. There's a crazy couple people who've, still go on there and look. And anyways, I was having a problem with some of the login software, and I happened to be talking to Peter Milano. You know who Peter Milano is, right?
Are you kidding?
Okay.
I was on the Northeast board. Is Pete still around? Is he still? I haven't seen Pete compete in a long time.
Yeah, he hasn't promoted. He hasn't been in the sport in a while, but he's still around. And I was having a conversation with him, and I was talking about, I'm trying to fix RMTV, and he said, why don't you put all of it on YouTube? And I was like, I swear to God, Neil, this is the truth. If you said, hey, Gary, why don't you go to the moon? I'm like, sure, okay, I'll go to the moon. It's like, it was such a wild concept. Because YouTube essentially kind of put me. I'll tell a quick side story. Sorry. The Arnold Classic. One year, the Arnold Classic was always like our best weekend. It was the only professional arm wrestling, big names, only an hour and a half days. It was so easy to put up. It was like the biggest membership generator. And then like a year later, and I had like an amazing weekend. And then a year later, like everyone in the audience had cell phones and they were posting it on Facebook, on YouTube. And suddenly like overnight, I became useless. It was like, oh, I guess there's no need for Arm TV because everyone can just do what I do. And wow, I guess my journey is over. But I always kind of had like, at YouTube. I was unhappy. I recognize what YouTube has done for society. It's amazing. God bless YouTube. Fine. But as a person, I kind of was always, I wanted to strangle YouTube because
do you not feel that was restrictive for you though, Gary, that view, that perception? Because had you sort of jumped on that bus early with the archive that you did have, and there were no restrictions for you to put it out there in that respect, you could have stolen the march on. I mean, you would have been massive now, really massive.
I missed the boat there. I missed the boat. No questions. Missed the boat.
In fact, though, we'll see.
I mean,
or are you just late getting on?
Yeah, it was a mistake. I mean, listen, I believe that everything happens for a reason and something good could come of this. I'm trying not to get too excited, but my point is that I always looked at YouTube like, I don't like you. But I was having this conversation with Peter Milano, and he goes, put everything on YouTube. And I hung up the phone with him, and I was talking to my wife, and I was like, he said I should put everything on YouTube. Is that crazy? She goes, well, why not? Why don't you do that? And I was like, is that even possible? It never occurred to me that this was something that could be done. I was like, is it? Anyways, I started going through the footage and I started sharing a couple of videos, and I didn't realize how excited people were. And the funny thing is, it's the small moments that I capture, not necessarily the match. So at the Arnolds, even though everyone was filming from the audience, what they weren't getting was what I captured between the matches, all the little moments that here 10 years later would seem so priceless and valuable.
Yeah, they're beautiful. Like, I mean, the thing that you put up the other day with the match footage, okay, and this might make you think a little bit, right? The match footage of Crazy George against Vetkia Samkaradze and Andreas, and I'm a hardcore arm wrestling fan as it gets. I bleed the sport, okay, but the little moments in between the match are the things of beauty in that. It's not the match itself. The match itself is secondary in some respects, particularly for the arm wrestling community. You got a situation where in one point there, you go to the bathroom with Andreas Rundstrom while he's soaking his arm, icing his arm down, trying to get some lactic acid out of there under the cold tap and so on. It's just little moments like that where you feel like you fly on the wall big time. And that's where the beauty is. It's it's a gem, isn't it? It's rare. Yeah. It's fly on the wall. It's good. No.
I'm always been a behind the scenes guy. Like, when you buy a movie, I get more excited about the little stuff behind the making of the movie than the actual movie itself. And that's kind of always been my thing. That's why Sevon and I really clicked, because him and I were very similar in the fact that we love to just chat with people and maybe just, the matches, like you said, the matches are one thing, but I always liked that other stuff. And so throughout the years, that's the one thing I had no idea people were going to find value. I was like, I just want to
continue to, mate. It's that particularly now. Yeah. The thing is that you've got so many opportunities here to cut things differently than it's been seen before. some people are going to gravitate towards the kind of thing I was just talking about and you were just talking about. Other people want that match footage. But you've got such a massive archive from so many excellent arm wrestlers that people know about, so many excellent arm wrestlers that people don't know about.
Yeah.
You know? People like George Gilliash, Billy. I mean, nobody knows about him. You've got lots of footage on him. And he was with King of New York for a long period of time. You've got some beasts that people want to know about, will want to know about. It's mega.
When I was talking to Devin, he's like, how long can you go? And at that time, I told him like 3 to 5 years that I have an archive.
From now, you've got 3 to 5 years worth of archive.
That's
what upload rate?
He said, if you post one video a day, how long could you go? Because they were basically like, you want people to see it, so you should bleed it out, you know? Don't just throw a bunch. So I was like, okay, that's a good plan. And I said at one video a day, which is not even true. What I've been posting like a video a day, but like if I have a promotional video, like a little pump you up, I've thrown that out in addition. But the thing is, when I told Devin 3 to 5 years, now at one video a day, I'm easily, it could be 10 years. I filmed so much. I interviewed so much that I could easily go 10 years at a video a day, easily. And the thing about this whole being a YouTuber now, so a side story. When I was in CrossFit, Sevan Matosian filmed Killing the Fat Man. Do you know about that?
No.
Do you know about?
How does he die?
I lost because I sacrificed my health in arm wrestling. I just was not really focused on myself. I gained a bunch of weight. I got really fat. And anyways, we filmed a series called Killing the Fat Man. It has over 1 million views on YouTube on the CrossFit channels.
Yep.
And so we did a season 2, and I have a little following. It's not an arm wrestling following, but I have a little dedicated following in the CrossFit community. And when I got let go from CrossFit, there was a discussion that, you know, people supported me. They said you should start continue on the Killing Fat Man on the YouTube channel. And I started to think about if I were to do that and how I'd have to create content all the time, and I'm like, how often, if you're going to create a channel and you want to put out content and it has to be new and fresh, I'm like, how exciting are people going to be watching me work out for weeks on end? I would get boring, and I'd have this pressure of having to create content. And I started to do a little research, and I was like, oh, YouTubers, that's like it must be a stressful thing that you have to create content. If you have an audience, you have to feed the demand. You have to feed the beast, and you have to have content. And then it never even occurred to me, Neil, and I feel kind of dumb, that when I was having the conversation with Peter and then my wife, and they're like, put up the whole archive. And I started to look to see how much content I had, because I remember when I walked away cold at that wall event, I was like, oh man, I could do this for like years. And I don't even have stress because I already made it. Yeah. I've got to do a little quicker edit, but I'm like, 10 years I could do this with no stress. The content's already there. And that was before
and it's mega content. It's mega content. There's some fabulous stuff, mate.
So I would be curious if there's any other YouTubers in my situation where they have 10 years of content in the can.
No, there are not. Not what? From a sports perspective? Are you talking about arm wrestling perspective? In arm wrestling, definitely.
No, I'm talking any perspective. Like, is there anyone else who is sitting on 10 years of content that they don't? I mean, I just would be curious to know, because it's such a unique experience. And like I told you, I was like, I was getting back in the sport more from a jaded, I want people to remember what I did, and it wasn't necessarily from a good place. I love arm wrestling, Neil, but you got to remember, when I go to a tournament, it's like walking into a casino where you gambled everything, and it's like, can you can you play blackjack for fun and not gamble your life away again? You know, there's a little bit of that element mixed in it. And there was also the support from my wife. I couldn't have done it without her. She's the one that fully supported me. She's like, you know, she's a classy girl. Dartmouth graduated, you know, smartest girl in their classes. And I didn't know if she'd necessarily be supportive of arm wrestling.
Yeah, I'm struggling to see a downside here for you, mate. I mean, you know, on all the betting, bet responsibly advertisements over here in the UK, we have a little logo that goes on the end of it. When the fun stops, stop. Well, you're not sort of going to be out on the road in that situation anymore. You don't have to go out and be away from your family. You don't have to be. That may come later. If you went down that path and it became a viable entity again. Yeah, you know, options present themselves. Right now, you don't have to even go near that. It's just a touch of editing. You're golden.
Yeah, it's funny because I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, holy buckets. I think about all these different events and what I had to do. Now, you're learning how much work goes into this, right? Trying to create a channel. This is a job, you know.
Yeah. Here I am every night after the hour of sort of 9 o'clock. Boom. I'm in the thick.
You're having to line up people, maybe doing some research, filming, then, you know, it's like a job. And I was like, this is just going to be a little part-time thing, but it has become like consuming, and I have to make sure, you know, I'm putting time towards my son and my wife. But I was like, back in the day, you were doing all of this, plus you were traveling, plus you were filming. I mean, the travel days alone for a tournament, every time I went to the East Coast, I'd lose a day going there and lose a day coming back because you're tired. I'm like, I can't believe I was doing multiple jobs back then, but I was like, it's so refreshing that I don't have to worry about filming the content and paying for all the expenses to go there. I already did that. And like, this is like, I had a dream job before, and I'm like, this is kind of a cool gig that I have to just share this content. I don't have to go anywhere. Mm-hmm. I got to tell you, Neil, it's kind of exciting, but I don't want to get too excited because, again, it's just for fun. Right now, I'm just sharing content with you guys, and I have no expectations of what are to come of it. But I got to tell you, I'm having a blast. And the fact that I'm getting to introduce some of the people that I follow that aren't around anymore and maybe not necessarily known, and there seems to be people who are like liking what we're doing. It'll be fun to introduce. Like I was talking about Luke Kent. Like everyone knows Luke Kent, but they don't know where Luke Kent came from. And I'm like, I'm so excited for people to see him progress. And you get to see what he was like on the very first day I filmed him.
You're going to see these people. Literally, it's like chapters in history laid out, and you see the people evolve. You know, you put footage up of Devon Larratt recently. Yeah. Baby Devon Larratt. At the Superstar Showdown. Baby Devon Larratt. That's what I was.
Robert Drank, I met him. I'm not going to say Robert Drank got into the sport because of RMTV, but he showed up in an Oregon State tournament, and I basically told him, I filmed him and I put him on the internet, and if I'm not at that tournament, I don't know if he goes back and starts funding the UAL. I don't know, but I do know that I was there when he found arm wrestling, and I got an interview with him, and I'm excited to share that. I know the UAL didn't take off like we had hoped, but it's fun to see those moments.
UAL was good times, mate, for a while there. UAL was carrying the torch. It was, you know, it's like pass the baton, isn't it? And UAL was some good times. I loved it. I've always been an enormous Bill Collins fan. Love me some Bill Collins. He's absolute quality. And we had some good times with the UAL.
You know, speaking of Bill Collins, I had, just to show you that I had hopes. I was like, I want to keep Arm TV going. We met up, Bill Collins and I had an agreement to try to bring Arm TV back to life a couple of years ago. But it was more focused on revamping the Arm TV website and in that form, and it never went anywhere. But it's like, you know, we met up. I was like, hey, I can't focus on arm wrestling, but I want Arm TV to continue, and I'm willing to work a deal. And you know, I was trying to keep it alive. And anyways, I love me some Bill Collins too. But I want to ask, can you give me a quick rundown? The last thing I remember was Wall getting canceled, the finals getting canceled, and then now I see Wall was on television the other night, and I'm a little confused.
No, the World Arm Wrestling League is alive-o. It's just come off a very successful season and would have been on an even more successful season, bar for the COVID situation. The season will start again in August and will run through to September, so there's going to be an event a week throughout August, all things being equal and arm wrestlers being able to travel within the United States. That's the plan. It's currently airing on Fridays on FS1, Fox FS1. The response to those shows has been excellent. Really, really great feedback on all levels. It's exciting times to be an arm wrestler and involved in the sport of arm wrestling, mate.
Why did the... I'm not saying I love super matches, but I heard they dumped the tournament format.
Well, no, it wasn't so much dump the tournament format. It's a natural evolution. Tournament arm wrestling, we don't want to get off track, but tournament arm wrestling and supermatch arm wrestling both have benefits and both have downsides. One of the downsides of tournament arm wrestling, it's much more difficult for people to market individual marquee athletes because you don't know how the progression's going to go. Also, people are looking for fast return. They want, a lot of television companies are looking for things that give them focal characters and also allow them to turn around a product quickly around those characters. So you've a pre and you've a post. That's less achievable, or more difficult to achieve, more complicated to achieve with tournament format. There's options down the tracks, but right now Supermatch is for professional arm wrestling, for elite level arm wrestling. Supermatch format is a truer test and is where the sport is at right now.
The reason I brought it up, because I listened to your podcast with England Jersey, Michael Todd, Devin Larrett, and Travis Bajan, and he said he sounds a bit sour on things, but he was like, yeah, I'm happy for Wall, but I think he described it as they screwed up just enough that it leaves a window for someone else.
Well, and I was like, listen, tournament arm wrestling isn't dead. The World Arm Wrestling League is doing one thing. There's other events in the world that are doing tournament. Yeah, the truth will out, Gary.
The reason I brought it up, because it's like, if this were to succeed and I could do more, you know, I can't help but think in the back of my head that I would want to bring the ROTN back or do some sort of organizing events. And it's like, if there's a window that I can sneak into where I'm
could have 4 fingers. Have you ever seen the film Snatch? Where you were saying he's got the gambling up, down, don't mention casino. Well, a minute ago I was telling you could keep stress-free and stay at home with the wife and the baby, and you're already running the goddamn biggest main draw tournament in the world all of a sudden. We went up to 60 again. Jesus.
I know. I'm trying to maintain a slower pace, but I'm just saying, if there is a window where we can sneak in there and have a little thing for us, that would be cool. If this were to go anywhere, I just want to say that would be like a long-term goal. I don't know if it's true, but
a rising tide raises all ships, Gary. So I don't think, it's not sort of for me, it's not an us and them in that respect. I don't think there's a major issue there, and I don't think there will be. From what you're doing with, in YouTube, I'm sure there'll be opportunities around there for everything you've spoken about. That it doesn't necessarily have to impact upon or be in any kind of conflictual situation or setting with the World Arm Wrestling League from where I'm standing.
Well, can I tell you that I was watching The Wall on television the other night on my on my big screen in bed. And my favorite part of the show was Neil Pickup's introductions. And just want to put that out there.
Some good matches, mate. I love working alongside Ben Holden in the World Arm Wrestling League. I love working for the World Arm Wrestling League. I've enjoyed the shows. I enjoy the events. I love arm wrestling and being involved in the sport. So I'm thankful for my involvement with World Arm Wrestling League, and I've enjoyed every moment of it.
Well, when you go back there and you're working with them, can you apologize for the F-bombs on the mic in New Orleans for me? Because I don't know if I ever got a proper apology.
I figure you may have just done it, Gary. I figure you've probably just done it, mate. I'm sure Jamie and Steve will probably see this, and there you go. There you go. Funny story, mate. I love that.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm amazed. I love what they're doing. I was a little so if I want to get into the wall, the cool thing about the television before is that if you showed up to the event and you got into the finals, you got on television. Mm-hmm. I thought that was cool. You're saying that's not good marketing for a new guy to show up?
It's not at all, mate. I think there's, like anything, there's a progression. If you look at the World Arm Wrestling League as it is now, there's certain athletes on the roster. Those athletes can be marketed prior to events. Their characters can be established, built up. A lot of fight sports go the same way, and arm wrestling ultimately it's got a lot of things that are akin to a fight sport. It can be marketed very successfully the same way. It's one model, and it's a model that appears to be very successful. I endorse it. Arm Wars. Look at Arm Wars. I was always down that route. Yeah. I think there's an enormous amount of positives with Supermatch arm wrestling, and I think it's the truest test of the best arm wrestler, in my honest opinion.
Yeah. And is Arm Wars? I haven't heard. Are you still putting on Arm Wars?
No, I shelved Arm Wars when I got involved with the World Arm Wrestling League for very, very bluntly, because I can only focus that amount of time and effort and endeavour into one promotion. At the moment, all of my effort is going into the World Arm Wrestling League. I'm trying to further the sport within the World Arm Wrestling League, and that's where all my time and effort is. Until told otherwise, I'll continue to do so, mate.
Well, congratulations on that. I'm glad to see you're still involved. Is that
trying my best.
What made you start the podcast?
The podcast came from within World Arm Wrestling League. It was an opportunity to. Are you talking about this show? Or are you talking about this show?
Neil
COVID-19 closed everything down. World Arm Wrestling League was on hold. The world of arm wrestling generally was on hold. I love arm wrestling. I love being involved in arm wrestling. It's what I do. It's the only thing I've ever been any damn good at. And I can't not be involved. I can't not be speaking to arm wrestlers, dealing with arm wrestlers, talking to people who like arm wrestling. I just love doing it, you know. So, I mean, is there downsides? Yeah. I mean, 9 o'clock at night, I'm sat on a laptop talking to arm wrestlers. God no, my missus probably upstairs with three-legged Bob. I don't know.
I feel guilty that here I am walking back into the sport.
Hopefully she will if she's upstairs with three-legged Bob. But anyway.
I look and I see all you guys kept going and you carried the torch, and it's like I feel guilty that I walked away and I let you guys down. Like,
you didn't, mate. Listen, you didn't let anybody down. Real life is you've got your family and you've got to live and you've got to provide for your family. Okay, that's real life. That's what you got to do. If you can do that within the confines of what you were doing with Arm TV, if you could have done that, then fine. I was close enough to what happened at the time to know you couldn't. It wasn't a viable proposition for you. You have to take tough choices in life, and that was one of the choices you had to take. Not anybody who holds that against you. It's just not a realistic view. What you did for arm wrestling was a massive service. It benefited the sport enormously. I know that you were involved in it and you loved it. You were there breathing fire at every event. You injected venom into all the events I went to. I think you did a fabulous job, and I wish you every success in the world, Gary. I hope Arm TV blows up.
Well, thank you very. Are you okay, I noticed going through the footage that you are everywhere. I was like, I saw Neil pick up a lot. I guess you were a little skinnier, you're saying.
You bet you were. Yeah, no, mate. Through words and all that, never spoken. Yeah, I haven't really competed in arm wrestling since 2006. I've trained for arm wrestling since 2006 as an athlete. I had all my joint rebuilds, and then I had my son was born 2009, and since my eldest boy came along, I wanted to put all my time into him and his brother. That's where, from a sporting perspective, I can't be training, I can't be promoting the sport. A massive amount of my time goes into promoting the sport, as you can obviously see from World Arm Wrestling League events, Arm Wars events at that time, the UAL and the other things I've been involved with, PAL. I've always tried to give the fullest time and attention to promoting the sport. I couldn't do that and compete and spend time with my boys. It just didn't work. So I had to choose. I've been lucky and won a couple of things. I figured that side of it's ticked. I want when my boys grow up, I want arm wrestling to be a legitimate sport. That's always been the goal. Hopefully we can get there. Certainly that's what I'm trying to do,
Well, can I tell, I gotta go, but can I tell you one little story?
Yeah, of course you can, mate.
So, I'm talking to Don Fritchie and everything's going amazing for our ROTN. And Don Fritchie looks at me and he goes, it's not the same. We got to have Neil pick up. He's like, no offense, Gary. I love what you do. I love the ROTN. But this event is not the same without Neil pickup. And he's like, we got to get Neil pickup here. Do what it takes. And I call the message. I call you up. I'm like, Neil, we need you in Kansas City. We can't do it without you. It's like you are. I know this has been about me and how important I am, but I wanted to tell you how much I value you and what you've done and how amazing you are. And Don Fritchie thinks so too, because he's like, it doesn't matter what it takes. Neil Pickup needs to be in Kansas City for this event. And I still have my book, my little folder of notes that you made with a little ROTN logo. It's a collector's item. I want to thank you for that. I still have that.
Mate, I loved it, Gary. I loved it. I loved being there. Thank you. Thanks for the invite, and thank you for having me over at the event. I absolutely loved it. I thought that it's something I'll never forget. Yeah. It's a special memory. Being involved in any of the big events like that's always matters to me, So yeah, I loved it. I loved it.
Well, thank you, brother. And let's see what happens. Let's have some fun revisiting this old footage.
Welcome back, Gary Roberts. Welcome back on TV. Let's see what happens now. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't been over to Arm TV yet, please make time to do so. Just get over there, check it out, Arm TV. This guy has got so much amazing footage. Things, if you want to learn about the sport, you want to see the origins of some of the best arm wrestlers in the world, see these guys literally grow up before your eyes. This is where you can do it. Get over to Arm TV. Gary's going to be putting stuff up, as you say, on a daily basis for a long period of time, but he needs your help to make it work. Please help him to do that, and the rewards will come your way. Guys, thank you so much for checking out Supernatural Strength channel, for tuning in to listen. Got a bit emotional with myself and Gary. Absolutely killing it, son. Killing it. But if you enjoyed the show, please come back for more. You'll be seeing more from Gary Roberts on this thing for absolutely sure. I want to just say thank you to Gary. Gary, thanks, mate, for coming on the show. Really great to have you back, and thank you for taking the time out. I really appreciate it, mate. Hope I didn't upset you too much, digging up painful memories and stuff.
It's all good.
And lovely to see your son as well, mate. All the best to you and your family.
Thank you, sir.
Guys, if you like what we do, please like, share, subscribe, and until we see you on the next show here at Supernatural Strength, take it easy, peeps.